what's going on guys? Joe here from JPRC. Welcome back for another update on my Axial SCX10 II. Now, some of you guys may be asking the question already, why is it still on the bench, Joe? Well, that's a very good question, guys. I gotta be honest with you, time has been a challenge for me. But more importantly, I have been tinkering with this rig inside. I haven't taken it outside for an actual trail run yet because the nearest trail for me it's an hour away. But this weekend, I am actually going to be meeting up with Matt from RC Overload that we're going to be doing a lot of trail run video, and also I'm going to be making an action video of this truck with a Jeep Speed Baja style, very similar to how the Bomber video was done. But this Axial SCX10 II, it's a very different platform compared to the Bomber. So there's a lot of modification that has to go into the truck to make it Jeep Speed Baja ready. And from tinkering with the suspension geometry on the SCX10 II, I have made a slight modification on the skid plate and the shock mount position. And now let me show you the flex right now. So this is a can from Duratrucks and it stands about 15 centimeters tall, and that's about 5.5 inches. I'm gonna take the rear end of the SCX10, I'm gonna drop it on it, and let's see if we can flex on this can. There you go, look at that, check that out. This is a full bench flex on 5.5 inches on this can. All three other wheels are still sitting level on the bench right there. As you can see, that is wicked awesome. That's a lot of flex on the bench right there. Now, if you look at the stock configuration, it was about like a little bit more than 3 inches. And by making some small modification on the truck here, now you can fully flex the rear suspension and also give you more travel both front and back with this modification. And that's going to be making Baja Speed, Jeep Speed ready, and also give you more capability on the crawling scene. So let's take the body off and I'll show you exactly what was done to it to get the extra flex out of your SCX10 with minimum modification. Alright, now we got the body off the truck. As you can see, the shocks are mounted at an angle right there, both in front and in the rear. And the only thing that was attaching to it was the shock key that I made from the Vanquish product Yeti front shock adjuster. I had a set of these in black and silver, and that's why the color difference in the front and the rear, but there's really no difference between the color. These were purchased for my Axial Yeti and Score project, but I never end up using them, so they were sitting around, and I tried the fitment on these the other day. They fit perfect, and I only had to cut them up in 2 pieces with the Dremel tool. And that took about 5 minutes a pop and was really easy to do. And there was really no modification required on your SCX10 II chassis. They simply bolt onto the existing shock mount holes right there, both in the front and in the back, and it fit like a glove. Now, by mounting the shock sideways, there are a couple benefits to it. One, it's going to allow for more leverage on the shock, because when you had it mount directly against the shock tower, before you fully compress the suspension, the shocks will already be maxed out. But mounting sideways like this, it will give you more leverage, and therefore you can get more suspension travel. However, the second problem that was limiting the long travel suspension in the rear was the drive shaft binding with the skid plate. We only had to trim out the skid plate to allow the drive shaft to go down a little bit more in the suspension travel, and that result was really good. It worked out perfectly. I think Axial should have left that extra plastic out and allowed the drive shaft to drop down more. And in fact, I noticed that the trailing length in the back is now much longer than the first gen SCX10, and in fact, it is longer than Axial Rave 2, and that's a 2.2 crawler. This is a 1.9 crawler. Having these extra length in the trailing links, it's gonna allow for that long travel suspension similar to the Axial Bomber and the Axial Yeti. So that's why I think it's gonna make it, more capable to be a Jeep Speed inspired video. And like I said earlier, the only mod that we have to do is just to trim out the extra plastic on the skid plate where the drive shaft comes out. And in the front, there was no problem with the drive shaft and the skid plate. This new shock setup allows us to maximize the suspension drop from the panhard setup. So this way, we're getting more travel, more flex both in the rear and in the front with this very simple modification. And in all 4 corners, I'm still running the very light 10-weight oil with all of the stock spring in there. I only have to add a little bit more weight up front. As you can see, this is a little piece of metal that I zip tied to it just to give it that extra weight up front for crawling on the hill. Alright, so this is gonna do it for the video today. Definitely stay tuned, and I hope this setup is gonna work and do it in my favor when I run it with Matt from RC Overload this weekend. Definitely stay tuned. Nonetheless, it's gonna have a lot of footage in the trail. Make sure to check out his channel. He'll have his version of the video up on his channel. I'll put his link in the description. If you don't know Matt, well, I'm sure you know Matt already because he's a really awesome guy. He's got a great channel. Make sure to check out his content. So with that, that's gonna do it. I will see you guys at the running video.